Okay, so we are looking at information about the video option of the RICA, and this is recorded at the time of, let's see, it's August of 2025. So this is everything we know to be true at this point. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Emily Muchanti. I am a reading specialist and interventionist, and I have been helping hundreds and hundreds of teachers with the RICA. And I started my RICA journey about, let's see, what was it? About 2016, when one of my son's teachers came to me and asked for help with the RICA exam. She said, "Emily, I can't pass the RICA." And I said, "The what?" Because we didn't have it back in the early 90s when I had to do it. But I was the reading specialist in the district, and I tutored her through the RICA, and she passed. And I started working out of my classroom holding workshops. And that's really where it started. And I realized there were very little options at that time, very few options for teachers to have a way to prepare for the RICA. And so I took my course online about 2020, and right when COVID hit, and it's been in some version of what you see in the written exam since then. Now, about 2 years ago, I had this wonderful woman reach out to me, one of my written exam students, and she said, "Emily, you need to help me with the video." And I said, "I really don't want to do that. It's tough. I've done that on the side with some of my colleagues. I know how challenging it is." She said, "No, no, you really need to do this." And so because I'm a glutton for punishment, I said, "Okay, let's do that." And so that's what we did. We started a cohort 2 years ago where I was working this live with everybody, so that I could learn it a great deal and get to know the ins and out of the video option. And last year, we moved it to a completely asynchronous course. And I'm really excited to say that still with an asynchronous option, we average between an 84 and an 88% pass rate out of the course. So I'm really proud of that. That's through the dedication of everybody doing the hard work, but with support, it can be done. So the first thing I want you to realize is that this is not an option for everyone. It really isn't. And you have to be very careful when you make this decision. So for those that it may be a good choice for you, this is those of you that have attempted the written exam more than once. The written exam is challenging and it takes many people more than once. And if you've attempted it 2 or 3 times and you're still not finding success and you're starting to kind of feel down about it, then it might be an option for you. If you are a teacher, you have your own classroom, you are an intern with your own class, this could be a good option. I never recommend this for anybody that has to borrow a group of kids. Also, if you feel really confident in your teaching ability, you have strong classroom management, you're comfortable in front of the classroom, then this could be a good option for you. But I want, if you are a special ed teacher, I need you to really think about the group of kids that you'll be working with. If you work with mod severe special ed group, if you work with kids that are nonverbal, this is not a good option for you. And that is because the competencies of the RICA are specific to the RICA. It doesn't say this is what you do if you're special ed. And so although there are some distinctions in there, you have to be working with a group of kids that can help you to demonstrate those competencies that they are requiring. So think about that before you make a decision. So I do not recommend this option if you have too much going on in your life. If you're trying to pass the Cal TPAs and you're working on your master's and you're going through, a health scare, or your parents' health issues or something big, it's probably not a good option. Although I will say with the RICA being in its last year, you might have to just fit some things in, right? Just even despite some of the challenges of life. I get that. If you have to borrow a class, I don't recommend it. It becomes very challenging when you're not working with your own students. And then plus the scheduling aspect of that can be really challenging. If you know that classroom control and classroom management is not a strength of yours, this may not be a good option. All of those things come through in the videos, and so you do have to have really good class control. If you have not attempted the written exam, I would recommend you start with the written, because getting prepared for the written, understanding the competencies and the strategies that apply to each domain, being able to speak RICA, knowing the terminology, helps you so much with this option. And if you are not in a placement where you can demonstrate those requirements of the RICA, again, I wouldn't recommend it. But if you decide to go with this option, I'm going to go ahead and we'll address your questions. I'll give you a general overview of what this looks like. So the current video option assessment guide is current until June 30th of 2025. And I'm going to drop the assessment guide in the chat for you to have. Actually, this is the content specifications coming first. The content specifications I will be referring to quite a bit, actually. And I'm also going to give you the link to the CDC website that will have the assessment guide, all of the templates and everything. So save those copies so that you can come back to those, because all of the documentation right now is good through the June 30th, 2025. And again, this is the last time they're going to offer it. So with the video option, you are required to demonstrate your knowledge and skills in specific selected competencies from the 5 domains of those content specifications. And I'll tell you what those are in a moment. You must, on video and through your lesson template, deliver effective reading instruction that is based on the results of ongoing assessment, reflects a knowledge of the standards, and is sensitive to the needs of all of your students. And so even though your templates are focused in on particular domains, every single lesson and every single template also wants you to demonstrate your knowledge of domain 1. Domain 1 is woven into all of that. This is assessment, planning, and managing of reading instruction. You have 3 video and template submissions. So the first setting is with a whole group, and they consider a whole group of students as 5 or more. So you have to write up a lesson template, record a video based off of that template, submit both of those for the whole class requirement. The small group setting is anywhere from 3 to 12 students. You have an instructional video and a template also. And then you have a third video of you working one-on-one with an individual student. And you would have that video and that template. So 3 videos, 3 templates. And if this is an all or nothing kind of thing. So if you passed one setting and you didn't pass the others, you have to start all over. It's not like the written. The written exam, you can knock them off one subtest at a time. This is all or nothing. So each video must be between 5 and 10 minutes in length. It must be unedited. So you have to have a continuous recording, no less than 5 minutes, no longer than 10 minutes. It can be anywhere in between those. You can trim the ends to make sure that you have that chunk that's correct, but you cannot pause or stop or edit that recording at all. That's an automatic fail. The videos must show the teacher providing direct instruction. The content specifications are very, very clear. They want to see the part of the lesson that you are teaching the content. Very, very clear. It also must represent your original work that has never been scored before. So it can't be something that you have done for the Cal TPA. It cannot be something that you have done for the RICA before. It must be original, and it must be having never been scored before. Because you're working with students, there's a great deal of security involved to maintain their privacy. So you must collect parent permission slips for all students. Now, this isn't necessarily a requirement. They give you permission slips. Some schools do a blanket media release, but my recommendation is to collect parent permission slips. I would rather have them and not need them than need them and not have them. Plus, when kids go home and go, Mom, guess what? Teacher recorded us today. You better believe you're going to get some questions from your parents. And so you just want to be very forthcoming with what's going on. And those are only needed for the kids that are actually in your recordings. They do not need to be there if they're just part of the class. Rosa, go ahead, hon.
Just a question. So, at the beginning of the school year, the kids are asked to fill out a form, given permission if they are being recorded or pictures. Would that be sufficient, or this would be another one? Another.
I personally don't think it's sufficient. I think that legally would cover you, but I think you're going to get questions from parents wondering why you're recording their kids. So I would caution, err on the side of caution and get permission slips. Make sure they're all very informed of what's happening.
Just another question, because you're only choosing like a certain amount of kids, right, to be recorded.
Right.
So just ask for those kids.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Only the kids that are in your videos. Yes.
Yes. Thank
And
you.
actually, if you're doing your whole group, let's say you've got 20 kids and 10 of those kids didn't bring back permission slips, you can still deliver the lesson to everybody. They just can't be in your shot. They have to be outside of the video. Priya, go ahead, hon.
Do we need to submit the permission slip to
No.
RICA, but
No.
just for our own sake?
Yep. I would just say collect them, keep them until you get your scores.
Oh, right. Yes.
And then you can rip them up and destroy them. I just think it's an added layer of precaution. But they do give you the permission slips.
Correct, because our school, since I work for a private school, in the beginning of the school year, it's in the handout.
Right.
But last year, when I was doing my induction program, a lot of my lessons were videotaped. So I had done both of them.
That's what I would do.
Safety sec, just for safety.
I would do it. I would just make sure they knew. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yep. You can make backups of your videos, but do not distribute. Your videos are for only uploading purposes and for you to use as a reflection purpose only. Once you receive your passing scores, you can delete them, destroy your videos. And it's a security thing for the privacy of your students. So this year, they actually have 4 submission deadlines. It's usually only 3. It's the last year they've added a 4th one. So the first submission deadline is October 24th. So you can start right away and submit before October 24th. The score reporting dates are about 3 weeks after that. I have it published. It might be in this webinar. I'm not sure. It's published in the course itself. The second date is March 6th. Then you've got 2 in June 16th and June 30th. And registration closes for this option June 30th. You can't do anything else with this option. Now, a lot of people, not a lot, I don't want to say a lot, but there have been a handful of my members that have done both the written and the video. They're like, listen, I got a lot riding on this. I need to cover my bases. I'm going to do both. And you can absolutely do that if that's what you want to do. Oh, let me say this about these dates as well. So there are only 4 submission dates, and there are only 4 dates that scores will be released. So it doesn't matter if, let's say that you knocked this out and you turned it in September 18th. You're not going to get your scores any earlier than everybody else from October 24th. You only get them 4 times a year. So there are a number of requirements. Oh, Rosa, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. If not sure if I understood you. You could do the written and the video, for example.
If you want to do them both at the same time, you can.
So for example, I'm scheduled to take the written, I believe this coming Thursday, subset 1. Let's just say I pass it. So when I do the video, what happens? Do I still have to do the whole? Yes?
Yep. The
Okay.
video is all or nothing. Now, I will say
Okay.
this, if you have passed any part of the written, I
Mhm.
would stick with the written because you're 1/3 or 2/3 of the way done.
Okay.
That would be my recommendation. But yeah, the video is all or nothing. They won't,
And
and you can't mix them. So let's say you pass part of the written, you can't do less on the video. Nope, they are completely separate exams.
are they charging for
Yep,
the video right now?
they are. Oh yeah. Yep, all of
Okay.
the waivers are gone as of June 30th. They're done with fee waivers, so they cost.
Okay.
Yep, yep. So there are a number of requirements that must be met to pass. You have to submit the templates and the videos for all 3 of those submissions, whole group, small group, and the individual. And that gives you at least the first requirement met. It is not a reflection of your score. It's just, yes, you turned in what you were supposed to turn in. So that's the first part. You have to turn everything in that is meant to be turned in. So the whole group setting, again, 5 or more students, this has to come from domain 5, and you have a choice of either competency 13, 14, or 15. Now, inside the course, I go into a great deal about what these all are, but please write those competencies down because you are going to want to look at those. And I'll talk about kind of how we do this. I have what I printed everything out, and it's kind of my RICA Bible. But you can see, well, you probably can't see on that little teeny screen. And never mind, there's a big old glare. But with every single domain, within each competency, there's a whole bunch of sub-competencies. Like you might have 10 lines in the sub-competencies. So you are looking for one of those sub-competencies out of these, okay? I walk you through this in the course to make sure that it's very, very clear. Now, competency 13 is a general comprehension kind of domain. And it might involve literal comprehension, inferential comprehension, or evaluative comprehension, amongst other things. Competency 14 is more about the comprehension of narrative text. Competency 15 is comprehension of expository text. So let me give you an example. I have had high school teachers, special ed teachers. I remember 2 gentlemen in particular. They were high school special ed teachers. They used their high school science curriculum underneath competency number 15 for comprehension of informational text. Did a great job. So it doesn't have to necessarily be out of your ELA curriculum, okay? It just depends on the competency. So you will not make these choices right now. Trust me, there are so many other things you have to do before you choose what you're going to actually do. But you have a choice. You are picking one of the sub-competencies from one of those 3. Oh, Miriam, hi, go ahead.
Yes, hi, Emily. So quick question. So just to kind of clarify, so for this one, domain 5, it's for the whole class, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then also, so we need to add domain 1, and if we pick 13, 14, or 15.
Correct.
Yes?
Correct.
Okay. Okay,
Correct.
perfect.
And
Thank you.
domain, you're welcome. And domain 1 is woven into the assessment piece of your template. And so it's about, before you can write a lesson, You have to have the assessment data that proves there's a need for the lesson. Doesn't make any sense to give a lesson that the kids don't need. So that's where the domain 1 content comes in. It's about pulling the assessment data, analyzing that, and making sure that you have a reason for the lesson in the first place. And when you look at the template, you'll see some of the specifics there. Any other questions about domain 5? Now remember, tonight is just an overview. There's a lot of depth here, but I want to give you kind of that overarching, what's this thing look like? The second setting is with a small group. So this is no fewer than 3 students, no more than 12, 3 to 12 students. And with your small group, you are working with domain 4, competency 11. So this is about vocabulary. You don't have a choice here. There are a number of sub-competencies under 11 that you would choose from. And when you start looking at those content specifications, you'll see some of that detail there. But no choice. It's got to be competency 11. The final setting is with an individual student. You are going to select one student. This is about developing, oops, and I just noticed I didn't change this. My apologies. This should be changed. It is, X that out. I missed that. It is competency 6 or 7, but this is word analysis. Okay. Word analysis. So this is really about phonics. Sorry about that. So you have a choice here. It is either competency 6 or competency 7. Now, competency 6 from domain 2 is about beginning reading, beginning basic phonics, foundational phonics. So it might be teaching kids to blend words. It might be teaching your little ones sight words. It might be working with a particular phonics pattern like silent E. That's what, so competency 6 might be a good idea for your younger students if you work with young students. Competency 7 is specific to multisyllabic words. This gets into bigger, more complex words. So competency 7 might be a better choice for older students. You might teach them, you know, how to chunk a multisyllabic word, how to add prefixes and suffixes, how to break apart those words. But so the competencies are very different, and this is just a one-on-one student. So you're choosing one kid that would need this type of instruction. Okay. Now you are required to submit all of those components, all 3 videos, all 3 templates, in order to have your video option scored. You have to submit them at the same time. So you can upload your videos and templates and they can sit in the Pearson site, but the day you hit submit, you have to have everything. You only get to hit submit one time. Okay, so you can upload and hold them there, but you cannot keep submitting one after another, one submission. You must submit evidence and videos that have never been scored before. And please resist the urge to do something you've already done. If you've attempted this option and you had something that did not pass, for goodness sakes, don't turn it in again. That doesn't make any sense, right? So we're going to improve upon what you have. And don't lean into your Cal TPA here, because these RICA content specifications are very, very specific. They're not like what you have to do with the Cal TPA. You have to make sure that your videos and templates are focusing on the correct number of students. If you're doing a whole group setting and they can only see 4 kids, that's not going to meet the requirement. Okay, so you have to have the correct number of kids in the recording. You must demonstrate your knowledge and skills with sufficient video evidence. And it will state in the content specifications that you bear the burden of proof. I can guide you. I've created a very step-by-step course, but you bear the responsibility, okay, to make sure that you have done all of those pieces that they have required. Remember that you're recording a 5 to 10 minute chunk of instruction without interrupting or recording, without interrupting the recording or later editing it. Your face has to be seen and you must be heard throughout the video. Now, I will say, we all know teaching doesn't keep us in the front of the room all the time, right? So like there's something happens over here and you got to go attend to somebody. And so if you briefly are like out of the frame for 2 or 3 seconds, that's okay. We've had that happen and they've still passed. So you don't have to be overly concerned about that. But you do want to make sure that you are the focus of this video. Oh, let me say this about recording. People record this various ways. Most everybody will use their phone or their laptop or a tablet. I recommend you set up more than one and you record your lesson with more than one device and you record the entire lesson. This is going to cut down on how often you have to re-record because something techy might happen. You might lose battery. You never know. The mic may not pick up. So I would recommend set up your phone, set up your laptop, and run them from 2 different angles. You must submit your work of you teaching in English. So if you are a dual immersion teacher or you are an ELD teacher, all of the instruction has to be in English. Now, on occasion, we've had kids respond in Spanish, because that's how they respond to the teacher normally. That's not a problem, but all of the instruction is in English. You want to record your videos as an approved file type. MP4 is the easiest. And the assessment guide is going to give you a ton of details about that. You also have to sign, basically swearing that you are the sole author of your submission, and to also make sure that there was no plagiarism, you and your colleague didn't do it together, and that sort of thing. And I will say this, this was not somebody reached out to me, and she was not in my course, but she had me, I think, through the written or anyway, she reached out and she got a letter from the CDC that was flagging her submission. Turns out her and her colleague, same grade level, were working on the video together, not doing the same thing exactly, but it might have been flagged. It may have been a little too close. And I know we like to work with our teacher besties and that sort of thing, but you have to be very, very careful here. Okay. We want to make sure that it's just yours. Same thing with AI. Okay. Be very careful about that. So if you teach online, you can absolutely do this. I have had several teachers who taught online and they did a great job and passed no problem. So if you are an online teacher, you can still do it. You have to complete the assessment, the requirements exactly as they are written, and there is specific guidance for that in the assessment guide. So I want to show you what the results will look like. This is a sample of a test results. And you can see the videos, they called them packets back then because they literally used to come in envelopes back when we first started this. So this is basically like setting A, setting B, setting C. And you can see domain 1 and 2, domain 1 and 5, domain 1 and 4. They are measuring domain 1 in all of them. Whole class setting. Now, this is the part I want to show you. Submission requirements, met, met, met. This only means that you turned in what you needed to turn in. This is not a reflection of the quality of your submission. This is just, yes, you turned in what needed to be scored. That's it, okay? Because you can see this person did not pass, but they met all of those submission requirements. They turned in what they needed to turn in. It just didn't score high enough. So a 220 passes. That's a calculation of all of them together. And I want you to pay very close attention to the diagnostic information. These 6 points down here are the main things they are scoring you on. And these are the things that you have to have in order to pass. I will say this, even if you pass, like you might pass and still have an area of weakness, you can have one area of weakness and still pass. That's, that's great. That's fine. But I want you to notice this. First one, you have to establish an instructional objective that is based on the assessment. So you're pulling assessment. The objective that you're writing for your lesson is based on that assessment data. The second one, you have to identify the RICA competency from which the lesson's central objective was derived. So did you select the correct competency that matches that objective? Sometimes people don't align those right, and that'll kick that particular part of the score out. Did you plan an appropriate lesson aligned with the central objective in mind? So was the lesson actually about the objective you wrote? Delivering the lesson, providing students with direct, explicit instruction. They give a lot of points here. Are you doing that gradual release of responsibility? The I do, we do, you do. Number 5 is on analyzing your lesson. Each template at the end of it has a reflection form. And this is where you are to watch your video and then reflect. And this is a good practice no matter what you're doing. But you will then give a very thoughtful review of your own lesson, analyzing that. And then the final one is using accurate knowledge about reading as identified in the RICA content specifications. If you've been with me with the written exam, I said you got to learn to speak RICA, right? That's what this is. You have to speak the language. You have to use that terminology. And so this particular person in their whole group, whole class, they did not meet number 3 and number 6. So they did not plan a lesson aligned to the objective, and they did not use accurate knowledge about reading as identified in the RICA content specifications. And that caused that to not receive the pass. Any questions about this?
I have a question.
Yeah. Hi, Caroline.
Hi. Sorry, I joined 10-15 minutes late. Maybe I missed this part, but I don't see domain 3 included, the fluency.
Nope. It's not in there.
It's not in there. So
Nope.
everything is domain 1 is incorporated with each
Correct.
section.
Correct.
So we have to teach and assess, basically.
Yes,
Okay.
you are doing a great deal with assessment. The assessment, it is determining the lesson, and you will also have to check for understanding at the conclusion of your lesson. So you are doing some sort of a formative assessment again.
So in the video, they want to see both teaching
No,
and.
it doesn't have to be in the video.
Oh,
It has to be
I see.
written. You only have 5 minutes, right? 5 to 10 minutes.
Yes.
You have to write out an entire lesson. It might be a 30-40 minute lesson that you are writing out. They're only going to
Okay.
see 5 to 10 minutes of it.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay.
Sorry,
Here's one.
Emily.
Yeah.
Emily,
Go
I'm
ahead,
so
Mary.
sorry. I got confused on the domain 3. So we need to add domain 3 or no?
No.
Okay, thank
No.
you.
Yeah, it is not. They are not using it as a requirement at all. So here is one that passed. Okay, you can see it looks a little bit different. All it says is pass. It doesn't tell you the score. And you can see that this this score still had an area of weakness in number 3 for their small group setting, but it was enough to pass. Okay. So before you begin, we talked about permission slips from parents, but let me give you a little mentor teacher advice. Talk to your administrators. Let them know, I have to do this as my video for the RICA requirement. Just make sure your school is informed, because if parents call going, why is my kid's teacher recording? You've got your administrator is in the know. And then let your parents know, you know, this is what I have to do. It's a requirement for my credentialing. If you have any questions, let me know. Here's the permission slip. Be sure that you review the assessment guide and the content specifications before you choose a lesson. Choosing the lesson, what you're going to actually teach, is like really the 4th thing in the list of what you need to do. We are not going to start with a lesson. That's not where we begin. We have to get to the data first. You will select a lesson that meets the requirement of the specified domain and competency. That is super important. Okay, so that's kind of the gist of the requirements. Any questions about that? It's a lot. I mean, this is one of the reasons I tell you it's a lot. It's not my first recommendation, but like I said, for some of you, it might be a great option. The choice is yours. I am only here to inform you and to help you to make an informed decision on what will work best for you. So let me tell you a little bit about my course, okay? If you got what you needed and you don't care to hear anything about the course, I just thank you for being here with me. If you want to learn about what I have to offer, then I invite you to stick around and see what's available. So I created the digital course. It went fully asynchronous last year. So this is the 3rd year that I will be teaching this. And I cover all content, all templates, all the information for every single setting. I have taken the template, the setting templates, and I have annotated the templates. I do not give you people's sample lessons. That is a big no-no to even look at other people's samples. That puts a lot of people at risk. So if people ask you for yours, I would be really hesitant, especially like on Facebook. There's a lot of scammers out there, you guys. Be careful, please, please. I try to protect you, but be careful. I will not write samples up and give them to you. But what I have done is I've taken the template and I have annotated it to tell you exactly what it's asking you to do, with links and with different information, which I'll take you inside and show you what it looks like in a moment. There's about 5 hours of recorded video and slide deck. It's 9 modules that covers everything. I hold monthly Q&As before the submissions so that you can come in and just ask me questions. It's just 1 hour. There's no script. It's just, hey, okay, what's going on? And people say, you know, I ran into this. I've got this question. And I record those and I put those also in the course for others to watch. I do not read templates. I do not watch videos. I do not read templates. And I have to be real honest why. The first year I did this, I ran cohorts of 30 students. 30 times 3 is 90 templates and 90 videos. And it about killed me to try to watch and read everything. I was not a happy camper. I had no life. And so I have other things that I do. So I created this course so that you can follow it step by step. And if you do everything I tell you, I'm telling you, you're going to be good. But you've got to have an eye for detail and you've got to take the time to do it right. Don't skip any steps. That's really important. The course costs $167. Now, because you're coming in on the first submission, it's $167 whether you buy it now or you buy it in March. This is it. I have to rewrite the course every single year. So this is the updated version. It is open. I have opened it and I'll give you the link tonight. If you are interested, I'll show you what it looks like. But that gives you access through June 30th, which is the last day, and then it's going to go away. It's go to cyber heaven, I guess, because there won't be a need for it. But that is a one-time fee for that, and that gives you all of that recorded content and access to me for those Q&A sessions once a month. Now, we tried doing tutors last year to help people review their templates. I can't do it. There's just too much other things in my life going on, but I can't guarantee. I'm only down to 2 tutors that I know of, that if you finish the course like exactly as it's supposed to be, and you do it early, I might be able to connect you to a tutor, but it will cost you for their time. So this is what they charge, and it's $50 for the templates, $50 for the videos. And they might change this. I'm giving you a ballpark. It's somewhere around there because the payment goes directly to them. It's not to me at all. It's just for their time. But all of the ones that are tutors have been with me. They have gone through my course. They were part of my live cohort. And I will say let's see, we started doing this last March and June. Every single person that had a tutor passed. That's pretty crazy. So consider that. But it's not something you can get last minute. It's got to be, these people have, they're teachers also, and they have to have plenty of time to do it. So yeah, we're floating between 84 and 88% pass rate, which was awesome. I think in one of them we had 88. This was March. It was 85. The RICA without support, the video option has a 50% pass rate. The written exam has a 68% pass rate, first time pass rate. We've got really good results, which means, you know, we're helping people and guiding them the right way. So that's really encouraging. I wish I could give you 100% guarantee. I cannot. You've heard the phrase, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. I can give you all the best tools I have, but it is out of my control how anyone uses it. So just please know that. So remember, I strongly, strongly recommend you do not use the video as a first attempt. You do study the content specifications and know the content well, that you only choose this option if you have your own class to work with. Now, some people will still borrow classes and the choice is yours. It's just my recommendation. And I have a study planner that lays this out. If you follow my planner and my pacing guide, you will be ready to submit in 6 weeks. Okay, it'll take about 6 weeks. Now, if you had more time, you could squish it and do it faster, right? And if you had a little extra, you could extend that. So here's what, if you're going to go forward with this, this is what I would recommend that you do. Download the assessment guide and the content specifications. I've linked that in the chat. Become very familiar with the assessment guide. The assessment guide it's going to, you can see mine here, it's highlighted and it's, you know, but I'm old school. I like paper, pencil. You can download those PDFs. If you want to join the course, you are welcome to enroll. It is open. I will drop a link in the chat, and you can start right away. And you should give yourself about 6 weeks to complete it. Okay. And we've got this up and running quickly enough that you have plenty of time before that first submission. Questions, comments, observations? Who thinks they're going to do it? Yeah, Priya, go ahead, honey.
I think I am going to do this like
Okay.
through video because I know I've done it a few times and unfortunately it didn't work out though. Didn't
Yeah.
pan out like the way I planned. But now let's say hypothetically you do end up failing it, then we do new lesson, new like the whole thing again and submit. On is there in RICA? I don't know. Have you come across candidates where certain template or certain did not work and then like in cal tpa if something is there they give you codes and if you fix that code and you can resubmit it for rescoring of that. Do RICA also has something similar like that as well?
I've never seen it happen. There is something in the assessment guide that says
Okay.
if your score was high enough and they needed you to do something with one, that is an option. But in 3 years or well, 2 years, I've never seen it happen.
I
But
see.
it is written in the assessment guide.
I see. Okay. Okay.
Hi, Emily. So, a quick question. So, I'm gonna piggyback from Priya. So, if let's say that we record the videos and we don't pass, can we use the same recording videos? No. So we just
No.
have to record everything new. Okay.
Yeah, and I kind of look at it like this: if the lesson didn't pass, don't do the same lesson.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Thank you. Mhm.
So that you could take like a lot of the content off of the template you could reuse because you've already gathered it. But I would really caution about the exact same lesson. Yeah. All right, Rosa, go ahead, honey.
So I feel like I want to do this. I just finished my master's. I'm gonna start. I don't have my own class yet. I'm gonna start student teaching. So I kind of want to take advantage of that. That I'll be maybe in the same class. I'm working at the same school, so I know a lot of the kids already, and hopefully I'll get a class that I'm familiar with the kids. But I'm signed up for all 3 sections of the RICA.
At the same time?
No.
Okay,
different
good. I was
times.
to say, I
Yeah,
taught
no,
you
no.
better than that, Rosa.
Yes, no. And the thing is, it's, I'm not paying for it. It's still, I did it when the waiver was
Yeah, good.
available. So
Good.
maybe I'll take them, but I want to sign up for this also.
That's what I would do. So that you said you're taking it, are you getting scores back pretty soon from something?
No, I'm barely gonna take
Okay.
subset 1, I believe on
Yeah.
Thursday or Friday.
Okay. Well, what I would do, are you going to be in your student teaching situation all year? Or is this a semester deal?
It's just for from August to December.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might want to stick with the written and see how you do, see what those scores look like. Because have
Okay.
you attempted it yet?
I've taken each test already.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So if those scores don't improve and you're still feeling like, then you might want to opt for it. And you can do whatever you want. I don't want you to
Yeah.
overwhelm yourself,
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like I could do this.
Okay. You give yourself a little time to get to know your class and your teacher, your
Yeah.
master teacher. Because if you've got a master teacher that's really easy to work with, great.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're not that fortunate.
Yeah, I'll find out
And-
tomorrow, but
Okay,
yeah.
good. Yeah. So give it a few days and kind of feel it out. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Okay.